Franny K. Stein, Mad Scientist, Book 2, Attack of the 50-Foot Cupid, Chapter 18, Nope, Not Tacos. Franny hadn't taken more than 3 feeble steps before she stopped. She remembered when Igor helped with the monster. That actually was pretty funny, she thought. She remembered when he helped with her X-ray projector. Also pretty funny. She remembered how he had risked his life to save her. She let go of the bus. She was overwhelmed by a strange and powerful electrical charge crackling through her body. A side effect of the Vigorizer? An injury to her nervous system sustained in the bus wipeout. Yesterday's cafeteria tacos not sitting so well? Franny felt strangely empowered. She felt strong and focused. This wasn't high voltage. This wasn't a chemical reaction. This wasn't a supernatural phenomenon. She looked at Igor. "Egads," Franny whispered, and her heart melted. Chapter 19. It's mad science time. Must save Igor, was all Franny could say. But how? Franny's massive brain ran calculations and scenarios at a blurring speed. Franny knew she could never take Cupid in a fight. He had that bow and arrow. And besides, it wouldn't be right to clobber a baby, even a 50-foot one. A baby's a baby, right? As Cupid put the arrow in the bow, Igor looked over at Franny. "A baby's a baby," Franny exclaimed. "He might be a gigantic destructive arrow-slinging Cupid, but he's still a baby." Franny pulled the roof off her house and tore through her beloved laboratory. "Where are you? Where are you?" she yelled. Finally, she stopped. "There you are!" she yelled, and fired the Vigorizer. Chapter 20. Utter Madness. Back at the street, Igor closed his eyes as hard as he could and waited for the twang of Cupid's arrow. But he didn't hear a twang. He heard a splash. Or was it a splosh? It was that sort of squirty sound you hear when you turn the garden hose on full blast. Then he heard slurpy sounds and a moo. He opened his eyes. Cupid was slobbering up the long stream of some liquid. And at the other end of the long stream was Franny. She had used the Vigorizer on the personal cow and was squirting an irresistible gush of fresh milk. Cupid had dropped his bow and arrow and was following it like the big chubby baby he was. Franny maneuvered him to a spot where she could get a clean shot at him. And while Cupid busied himself with the cow, Franny activated the manifester in reverse. With one blast, she returned him to his proper form as the Cupid in a Valentine card. Chapter 21. LGMS seeks ULD. Little girl mad scientist seeks ugly little dog. Franny stood in her yard. Cupid was no longer a threat and the kids were safe. But strewn on the lawn around her was the smoldering wreckage of her lab. She should have been the saddest little mad scientist ever. But she wasn't. She was happy. In fact, she was very happy. Igor was okay, and as smart as Franny was, she would never ever be able to explain why, at that moment, that was the most important thing. She stooped down and picked him up. He looked frightened and said, Thanks for saving my life, she mumbled. Igor trembled. He looked as though he would cry. You know, she said, we mad scientists are sort of excitable, and sometimes we say things that we don't really mean. Igor blinked. His eyes widened a bit. And really, this is all mostly my fault. I'm the one that made the manifester and the bigger riser in the first place. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm going to need an assistant to help me get back to normal size and also help put this lab back together. And I was thinking that I'd like you to be my assistant. If you want to, I'd really like it. Franny felt that strange rush of electricity surge through her again. There was something about revealing how she felt that was almost as powerful as feeling it. And incredibly, it seemed to have an effect on Igor. He sat up straighter. He somehow looked less ugly. His breath got better, and as he wagged his tail happily, dozens of fleas and ticks jumped off his back. They must have realized that Igor was no longer the type of dog that they could infest. You're going to be the best lab assistant in the world, Franny said. Igor jumped from her hand and immediately started to help clean up the yard. He knocked a flask into a beaker, which blew up, leaving a 12-foot wide crater in the yard. Okay, Franny said. Maybe not the best, but you'll be my lab assistant. Chapter 22. It must be love. Franny and Igor worked together as if they had known each other forever. They fixed the bus and got the kids off to school. They built a device to shrink Franny back to normal size. Along the way, they learned that Igor could help a lot by holding things that Franny's giant hands would have probably broken. And then they made all the Valentine's Day cards that Franny needed to give to Miss Shelley and her classmates. This thing is just too dangerous, Franny said, and together they destroyed the Biggerizer, but not before they used it just one more time. Chapter 23, and that's that. Miss Shelley and the kids looked out the window. It looked like a giant brown mountain had suddenly appeared in front of the school. Happy Valentine's Day, Franny said as she walked in. She handed her cards to Miss Shelley and the kids. Franny, Miss Shelley said, are you responsible for that thing out there? I am, Franny said. Happy Valentine's Day. It's for you. For me? Miss Shelley said. Really, Franny, I don't know what that thing is, but I'm quite sure I don't want it. Suit yourself, Franny said, smiling. But it's not a thing. It's a chocolate-covered cherry. Miss Shelley gasped. You said something about candy. Miss Shelley and the kids went outside for a closer look, and Miss Shelley let them dig in. It looks like you were hit with one of Cupid's arrows, Miss Shelley said with a happy wink as she enjoyed a taste of the candy. I thought so too, Franny said seriously, but after a complete examination, I found that I wasn't even nicked. No, Miss Shelley, there's something strange at work here, a phenomenon I just can't explain. It could take me months to unravel this. Months, Miss Shelley said, and she watched as Franny, Igor, and the kids slurped up the giant chocolate-covered cherry. She opened the envelope that Franny had given her and looked at the card inside. Miss Shelley, he's the scariest thing in the world, but I know you like him, so here's your Cupid. Love, Franny. And Miss Shelley felt that same strange surge of power that Franny had felt crackle through her from head to toe. Happy Valentine's Day, Franny, she whispered. The end.